On a Monday morning in January 1979, Brenda Spencer started shooting from her house to the elementary school across the street, killing 2 adults and injuring 8 children and a policeman. When asked why she was shooting, Brenda declared, "I don't like Mondays." 26 years later, Brenda Spencer is entitled to parole. We were granted exclusive access to her hearing and discovered that behind the eerie detachment of her original statement are now dark allegations about a seemingly ordinary suburban family. Brenda Spencer's father still lives in the house from where the shooting took place, but he's never spoken about the events of that morning in 1979. Brenda Spencer's estranged mother has now broken her silence and told us that she thinks her ex-husband is responsible for the events that morning.
I feel that her father should be where she is, not her.
From the home across the playground from the home, when all of a sudden as many as 7 shots rang out from the house, leaving behind some cars and a hail of bullets. The school principal and custodian were killed as they stood in front of the school.
Brenda Spencer was a teenage schoolgirl who lived in the very ordinary San Diego suburb of San Carlos, California. She would be guaranteed notoriety because she was America's first school shooter. In 1979, Brenda Spencer pleaded guilty, and so her bizarre Mondays explanation has remained the only explanation. 26 years later, the residents of San Carlos are nervously preparing for Brenda Spencer's parole hearing. Before that hearing, we tried to find out more about the girl whose only motive for shooting dead 2 adults and injuring several children was, "I don't like Mondays, this livens up the day." The first person to offer an insight into Brenda Spencer was the district attorney for her parole hearing. He believes that she is still, and always has been, a threat to the people of San Diego.
This is a shot of Spencer as she appeared on that particular day, January 29, 1979. Clearly I see a sense of imbalance or disturbance in looking at this individual.
Why do you think that?
It doesn't look like a typical 16-year-old person. I think if you look at the eyes, you see, so at least I see some sense of emotional disturbance going on.
Certainly she was the grandmother of schoolyard shootings, and later the paradigm came or has become that mad students go in and shoot up the schoolyard, shoot up their classmates. She started it all.
Burton Ragg, the school principal shot dead by Brenda. His widow Kathy has kept their house the way it was the morning he left on January 29, 1979.
I don't think his memory was anything to need to get away from.
No, I don't.
And, he did nothing wrong.
Did it make it harder to deal with that he was killed by a 16-year-old girl?
Yes. Yes, it did. Went to collect my dad's things a couple days afterwards, and there was still blood on the sidewalk where he died. They hadn't scrubbed.
America, let alone San Diego, had never experienced a school shooting, and as the San Carlos suburb descended into panic, the rest of the country watched on in disbelief.
When I got shot, when I went in the nurse's office, I was bleeding a lot. I just was laying there dead.
The bullet that went through her wrist didn't harm anything, didn't hit the bone, or we're just praising the Lord.
So terrified. It was a very, very horrific event. My mom just thanked Jesus Christ because I was still alive and I am still alive. Certainly it affected my life. I mean, something that's that traumatic, of course, will of course affect your life.
Basically, it was the end of my career. It's prevented being able to hold a decent job for a long time. I mean, I still dream about being a police officer and being out on the street. If I could, I'd go back to work tomorrow.
26 years later, the survivors remain emotionally scarred by the events of that Monday morning. For them, the 16-year-old girl is still a frightening figure.
She's evil looking to me. And she's got these glasses and that long red hair. She's creepy. Yeah. I don't know, someone from like a horror flick. Yeah. I mean, I've never heard her voice, you know, I've never heard her talk, but just, she's eerie looking.
My niece and nephew, when they got to the age where they could understand this, you know, they've always wondered, you know, Grandpa. Their question to my brother was, is she going to come and kill us too?
How would you describe Brenda as a little child?
She was very active, and she was always happy and a good child, well behaved, never had any problems in school, and that was my little girl. And she's not a monster.
Because Brenda Spencer was only 16, she escaped the death penalty. 26 years later, she appeared before a parole board here at her prison. The media remained fascinated by the original school shooter, and with tensions running high about her potential release, ours was the only camera allowed into the hearing room.
This is a subsequent parole consideration for Brenda Spencer. Madam, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. Inmate repeatedly fired a .22 caliber rifle. When asked about the motive for the shooting, the inmate told her, "I just started shooting for the fun of it. I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day." How you feel about this? You've been in prison for quite a while. You killed 2 people. Again, you wounded 9 others. How do you feel about this?
I'm very deeply sorry I did it. And I didn't have a right to do that to those people.
This was Brenda Spencer's first public display of remorse, and with possible parole beckoning, suggested she had now gained some insight into a crime that had shocked America. The prosecuting DA believes the events of that Monday morning in 1979 were planned and calculating, rather than a perverse act of teenage boredom. Brenda Spencer was shooting to kill.
This was sniper-type behavior. There were approximately 36 rounds fired at 150 feet from a telescopic rifle. She was shooting in a very deliberate manner to harm and to kill, and in fact accomplish those objectives.
It was very chaotic. Police tried to evacuate many of the surrounding homes, and then many of the school children. It was first...
About that time, massacres in the U.S. were not commonplace. Certainly a student shooting another student or maybe attacking a teacher, but a massacre dynamic was unthinkable.